All right, let's talk some wrestling.
Well, let's start with some cheery news. Jerry Lawler has had a stroke again. It's not really cheery news. I understand that. SportsIllustrated.com. Jerry the King Lawler has spoken for the first time after suffering a stroke recently at his home in Florida. The WWE Hall of Famer was confirmed by his daughter to have suffered. I didn't even realize he had a daughter. I thought he had two sons.
Okay, that's a whole nother story. I never heard of Jerry having a daughter ever till about a year ago. So I talked to his son, Kevin. I don't think he'd heard about it either. And he had just heard about it recently within the last year. Apparently Jerry was quite a Romeo in his day. And apparently he had a fling with some female in Memphis, and she had a daughter. And he kept this quiet, and she did too, and I guess the mother did too, all these years. And of all the years that I have known Jerry Lawler, I thought he just had two sons, and but he ended up having a daughter, and that's who's putting the news out about it.
Hmm.
So, and I never heard of her before, and I can't even I don't even know her name, but I was reading an update, and it says Jerry Lawler's daughter, and I went, what? I didn't even think he had a daughter, but apparently he does, and apparently they're not trying to cover it up anymore because she's openly posting now, and I don't even know her name, but I never knew he had a daughter. So yes, like the old saying, you can know somebody and not know somebody. But
Yeah.
he never told me about that. I guess he just kept it quiet.
Yeah. It's weird that Kevin didn't know.
Uh, and he had the aneurysm. I think he had, which is right next to a stroke. I don't think are they calling it a stroke?
Well, this article certainly is. Every article I've seen is calling it a stroke, so that's what I'm going with for now.
Well, he's had three.
Hmm?
And I'm thinking somebody wrote the other day, said, how many strokes can one person have and continue to carry on like, nothing's much wrong? Now, the stroke is according to how severe it was, but this one here, from what I'm reading, was more severe than the last one he had. Because I'm reading, and it says he couldn't remember people he knew. See, the last stroke he had, he still remembered people, immediately upon seeing them. But now I think his son came into the room and he didn't even know who he was. So it's already showing signs of being worse than the last one. And my Jerry is, we're brothers from different mothers. That's what we used to say because we have the same birthday. So we're the same age. I'm the same age as Jerry. He's the same age as me, of course. But I really hate what he's going through. I really do. But I think from the report I got that he is recovering, getting better. But now I'm kind of worried about him. And he had it in Florida. So when he went back to Memphis, I don't think he could fly. He had to. Well, he didn't drive. I'm sure somebody had to drive him back to Memphis, and that is quite a trip, buddy, from Fort Myers, Florida to Memphis. That's got to be close to 900 miles, I would say.
Well, apparently
But
some of the issues were, and here's a quote, I remember lying in the bed in the hospital, and when people that I knew, like family members, came in, I didn't even recognize them. People
yep.
kept coming out of nowhere to thank me and prayed for me and everything, and all of that means a great, great deal to me. And I want to thank them all for that. Now, the article continues to say that Jerry's eyesight had been seriously affected by the stroke, which is why he didn't recognize people coming in. And it says, rendering the former AWA world champion unable to recognize his own house when he returned from the hospital.
Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. Said his eyesight was so bad, that's why he didn't recognize people coming into the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but why didn't he recognize his house?
Well, you couldn't see his house, I guess.
I think he's trying to make it sound like not as serious as it was. But, do you remember the time he had the first stroke when he was live on WWE?
That was a heart attack. That was a heart attack, not a stroke.
Oh, a heart attack.
Oh, yes, okay. I remember very, very vividly. He was snoring during a match. So he'd wrestled earlier that night against Dolph Ziggler. And I think he claimed that Dolph dropping a load of elbows on him had basically knocked his heart out of rhythm, and then when he was sat at the commentary desk afterwards, he just collapsed and started snoring on the microphone. And then they, carted him out. And essentially, if there were not doctors in the arena that night, he would have absolutely been a goner, because they were breaking ribs. They were breaking ribs, resuscitating him and keeping his heart going for like a long, long, long amount of time.
Wow. I didn't know they broke his ribs.
It's common. Apparently, it's quite common if you're trying to resuscitate somebody. All the effort that goes into doing that. Broken ribs are a common fallout from it.
He's been one lucky guy. He's had a heart attack and 3 strokes. That's a pretty big activities list, if you ask me.